Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. We thank you in advance for your time. We are going to run our intro and we'll be right back. All right, guys, here we are. Hey, Lisa, thanks for joining us tonight. So, ladies, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Shanetta. Katrina.
All right. And we know we also have Tangela, who is probably going to make a later appearance this evening. So, thank you, ladies, for joining me. As always, I appreciate your time, your energy, and your comments. So, last week we talked about um, our sons and what it's like raising them. For those of us that are married, and then raising them as a single parent. And we had a guest on as well, and she talked about her experience. Um, and last week, I really felt like that conversation was so important because we know our men, our boys that we raise that grow up to be men, experience a lot in our country and in their lives, just living in their skin. And so, as mothers, I think it's important sometimes just to take a minute and talk about what it's like for us trying to prepare them for the later years. So that was an important conversation for me. But as all of us have sons, we also have daughters. We have that, Trina and I have that wonderful one of each. Now, Shanetta was a bit of an overachiever. So, so she went for the multiples, bless her heart. Uh, but like I said, we talked about our sons. We want to talk about our daughters. Parenting done properly and even done wrong is still work. Even when you parent wrong, it takes work to get it wrong. You have to do something. You may be doing a lot of the wrong something, but there's something that we're doing. So parenting is a lot of work. Effective parenting, I feel like, is even more work. And it is not something that anyone should take lightly. I don't, for the life of me, I can't understand how people still haven't grasped that concept. And I'm in my 40s. But you'll see people that just, oh, I wind up pregnant. So here's this kid that I don't really want. And whatever. I'm sure we've all seen the effects of that, as well as we've seen the effects of parenting done right. You know, you hear studies, you hear theories as it pertains to girls about all the things, um, the do's and don'ts of raising girls that are going to turn into women and maybe potentially wives or potentially mothers. This day and age, they could turn into potentially anything. Sometimes it's a pumpkin. You can never, you can never quite figure out what's going to happen. So, ladies, I wanted you guys to kind of talk a little bit about your experiences um, with your daughters, because both of you have technically grown daughters, because I don't know what you guys consider them. So that's the technically part, that they are both over 18 or at least 18, right? I am on the short yellow bus. with a with a full of life, almost 12-year-old. So, ladies, let Trina, you could start. Tell me about some of your experiences.
Where should I start? Um, okay. Well, I think raising my daughter was um when I was going through it the younger years, it seemed like I was kind of like so concerned and so worried about so many things. But looking back on it, it I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Okay.
Um and it wasn't really bad. It's just that I was so worried that I would if I was doing everything correctly. If I was um okay, so she's a dancer. And when she first went to the studio that she danced with, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they have no clothes on. I cannot let her dance here." Because I'm thinking all these negative effects and oh my gosh, with the little costumes, and I was like, "Oh no, that is not enough clothes." And then as time went on, I saw within the dance world, it's just a costume. It's not like, you know what I mean? And so I had to kind of deal with that. And, then as she got older, and I was concerned about what friends she was hanging out with or whatever. And then I started to see that she had a good head on her shoulders, and
Okay.
even though she didn't always make the correct choices, she was thinking. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I found out that she was, making evaluations like, I don't know about that, to where sometimes she didn't talk to me about it at that point. But later on, as she got older and I started, she was opening up more to me, I found that she was really thinking things through. And she
Okay.
kind of was paying attention when I was saying stuff. So it's just like, I felt like looking back, I worried a lot more than I needed to worry
Okay.
about her. I worried so much all the time, and you know, and I think that's why with my son, I'm kind of not as I still worry, but I don't think I stress as much because I'm like, well, you know what? It's probably gonna turn out all right because she turned out pretty good.
Okay. Do you think you worried a lot because she was your firstborn, or was it because she's a girl?
Both, both, definitely both. Firstborn because I didn't know. What do I know? And mostly because the times have changed. Like you could say, I was a teenager before, but times are different. And so I was worried about that. And I feel like now I kind of know what's out there a little bit. I learned all about the internet and all these apps and stuff, and I kind of know some of the slang and what really goes on at the high school because my kids would tell me stuff that happened. So I kind of feel like I went through it, so I kind of got an experience or a background. So I'm not as worried
Mhm.
about things that I just didn't know about.
Gotcha. And so, do you feel like your daughter's like you? Is she like you were at her age? Like, do you see yourself in her, or do you think she's not like you at all?
Personality wise, we're very alike.
Mhm.
But I don't. I think she's more like me now, personality wise, than I was. She's not like I was when I was a teenager.
Okay.
I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay. And Shanetta?
So, my one and only daughter, my favorite daughter.
I used to say that to them too. You're my favorite daughter. You're my favorite son.
She is 20. She just turned 20 in September. Um, so she's 20. I do think I'm kind of like Trina. I spent a lot of time kind of worried about her from so many different aspects. Um, Definitely because she was a girl. And I think a lot because she wasn't my first, but she was, of course, like she's our only daughter, so it was kind of like so many different aspects of looking at this, like her being in this world full of boys, and just trying to kind of make sure that we have the sensitivity to the fact that she's a girl and not like, she's fine. Toss her on the couch. She'll be fine. Like kind of how we did the boys. Not that we like, when they were newborns and 6 weeks old, we just came home and tossed the kid on the couch or anything like that. But hey, there were boys. We were probably a little rougher with them. So it was kind of like, oh, she's a girl. Got to be a little bit more gentle. She has always had, even before she could fully talk, she's had a smart mouth. And
I know what you
let
mean.
me like kind of preface that whole thing. She was maybe 2. And she wouldn't really say a whole lot, but she would do this thing with her nose where you knew she was kind of like a little disgusted with you. And I can remember this the first time that my husband popped her real good, and I was devastated because I was like, she's a girl, you don't pop her. He told her to do something and she said no, and then gave him that little nose twitch. And before I knew it, she was popped, and I was like, oh my gosh. So for me, it was like there should have been like obvious differences with her because she was a girl. And so that caused me to kind of do things differently because of that. Like it was just a different way of operating. And so it did cause me to kind of carefully look at things. I am a number one person that will always say that, yes, we had double standards, but they were needful because I feel like there are things that are different for girls that they have to kind of learn, experience, and know in a different kind of way. And so it caused me to kind of carefully pay attention. There were things that I wanted to make sure as she grew up that she didn't experience. And there were things that I wanted to make sure she was knowledgeable of as she grew up. And just having that confidence that I wanted to make sure that she was never the type of girl that kind of came off as like the needy women when they get older, and it's like they need somebody to take care of them. They need somebody to love them. Like I wanted her to be very confident in herself. I wanted her to be just very independent, but not so much so to the point where when it came time for her to be in a serious relationship that she's running a guy off. Because she, I'm an independent woman. I don't need nobody. Like I was trying to keep a healthy balance of I'm independent. I can do this by myself, but if you want to love me, I'll let you in. So I think that there were certain things that I tried to do throughout the years, and later on, I guess we'll figure out if they worked. But there were just certain things, you just kind of wanted to implement to make sure that she knew she was a lady and that she knew what her value was, and that she knew she was always loved, or knows that she's always loved. So I don't know. It was very different, I think, with her. Some things were easier. Some things were definitely harder, just simply because she was a girl. She's a girl.
Okay. So do you feel like she's more like you or more like her dad?
She has a good, healthy mix, and I love it.
Okay.
There are moments where I look at her and I'm like, oh, girl, I don't like you because you just like me. Oh, my God. I want to go to my room. You go to your room, separate corners, because one of us is not going to survive this. And so we have those moments, but she also has moments where she is like the cool, calm, collected person. Like, because my husband, he's super laid back and he's just like real chill and he likes to have fun. And like I can see that in her, and I'm just like, yeah, that I like that. And then the other moment is like, I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to square up. And like, I'm like, come on, I'm going to get my Vaseline and my boxing gloves and we about to go for it because you have an attitude and you got it from me.
Okay. That's good. So let me ask a question. You said you tried to teach her like the healthy balance. So what were some of the things that you tried to do to, I don't know, display that?
Um, I always wanted her to kind of have that I can do it. So
Okay.
the boys protected her, and the boys have always been right there, to take care of her. But somewhere along the line, she learned how to kind of be their protector too.
Okay.
So she's aware that she's not like the, oh, I'm so, like the little, you think I have four brothers. She's the dainty little girl walking around with, pearls on and a little purse all the time. She's not that person. She's like, oh, you look at my brother sideways? Okay. Oh, we all coming out there. Like, she's that person. And I'm like, wait. Calm down. You're a lady. Calm it down. Bring it back just a little bit. Um, so I think it was a matter of teaching her to stand up for herself, but at the same time teaching her that, okay, listen, this is how a lady behaves, and this is what we do, this is what we don't do, this is how we act, this is how we do not act. This is acceptable, this is not acceptable. This is how we speak to people, this is not how we speak to people. But at the same time, defend yourself and kind of be very confident in who you are, and don't let anybody talk down on you. Even if your brothers are not around to help you, you should be able to kind of, fend for yourself, to the point where with even with her brothers, they knew she could handle herself. They would take care of her and make sure that, she's good, but they always knew that she could handle herself too.
Okay. And so Trina, what was that like trying to teach Jakai, balance? Like, did you have those moments where you felt like, okay, you gotta, come up here, go down there? Were there any of those moments?
Um, I don't know. I can't really recall any like right off the bat moments where we were talking about like balance in that way. Um,
Or how about, like you said, she's a dancer. So, I'm sure the bigger she got, you know, go through puberty, your body changes, you're kind of like in a mixed area. So some of the other girls don't have all of the physical challenges that she may have. So what was it like balancing with the costumes? Have you had, that issue? Like, we need to put a piece of cloth or add an extra something. Have you had those issues?
we definitely had to, sometimes accommodate, for her, costumes or whatever. But I think as they got older, you know, they definitely kind of did more to cover certain things, and then the type of dancers that she started gravitating toward were more covered anyway. But I think that I don't know. I feel like the type of balance that we needed to kind of work on was just, her balancing with her dance and her schoolwork, because in her mind, dance was, the priority. And although she always had A's, it was like, yeah, I got to do the dance rehearsals. Blah, blah, blah. I'll get to my schoolwork. I mean, she got it done, but it was just like always, on the back burner. And then after a while, I stopped worrying about it because she would get it done somehow, some way. So,
Okay, so I mean, I guess y'all are at the point where y'all are no longer dressing your daughters, but like, so I struggle with my child. Y'all see her; she's my height. She, she got way more going on than I had at 11. To be honest, I don't even know what somebody put in the water, the milk, the chicken, wherever they put it, they need to take it out. So, like, lately, my biggest struggle has been trying to dress her like an 11-year-old.
yeah.
And I'm literally struggling with that. Like, I've gotten to the point where like I'm layering all her clothes because everything is too short here, too low here, and So was that anything that you guys ever had, had to struggle with? Or were you guys like cool with the like whatever the latest fad is? Because like now it's the short shorts or the pants with the rips right where your tail is, or the shirts that stop here, and I
Mhm.
mean, I guess we had midriffs too. There was midriffs back in the 90s somewhere.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
didn't.
you can wear it, but you need to have a tank top on up under it. Like
Yeah.
certain things you can wear. Like, I mean, even when my daughter would want to wear like ripped jeans. And I was okay with the ripped jeans because it was the style, but you had to have leggings on up under them. For me, not even knowing that that was like a dress code thing at the school. Like they
Oh,
had
okay.
like skin at a certain level can't, show.
Right.
I wasn't concerned about the school's dress code. You had to pass my dress code rules before you could, even consider passing school dress code rules. There were things that no, like I'm not even buying that because it's just not even like you might think it's cute. Put it on in the dressing room. No, we're not buying that. Sorry, wrong option. Go find something else. Um, Even now, I question some things, and she's 20. Like she will come home, from school and get dressed to go somewhere, and she'll be like, "Do I look cute?" Yeah, girl, you're cute. Go for the slip on. Um,
Not a slip. Did you say a slip?
Listen, I told y'all, yes, we still have slips in this house around these parts. Okay. Yes, and I will gladly go put a slip on. No, that's cute. It's a nice like so. I mean, there's still conversations even though she's grown. Now, does she always listen to my conversations? Now that she's technically grown, not
Technically.
really, but I'm still gonna say it. I'm definitely you're still gonna hear me. And when you put it on when you're away from me, you're probably gonna hear my voice. You're questioning to yourself, what will my mom say? You hear my voice because I've said it enough.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's the fads and the style and all that kind of stuff that's going on. Everything still has to be done in moderation, and you have to make sure that they know that this is the standard for how we dress and why we dress this way, why we cover ourselves fully. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to have you out here exposing all your body parts to the entire world. Like, that's private. We keep that stuff covered up. We're not going to uncover everything and just let it show, hang out to the world. So, no, value yourself a little bit more than that. And I mean, that's not, yeah, she and my daughter was a cheerleader, so she had to wear, the cheerleading uniform, that kind of stuff. That I think for me, that's just so different than just everyday attire. Like we're not walking around. You can wear a bathing suit on the beach, but you're not wearing at the school. You're not walking around school in your bathing suit. That's not how we dress for school. That's not how we dress for church. We wear a bathing suit at the beach. We wear our cheerleading uniform for our games and for when we have to cheer. We wear fully covered clothes when we go to school.
Speaking about bathing suits, I didn't let my daughter wear a bikini until she was like 17. I couldn't do it. Even at the beach, I was like, get the one piece.
I don't even know
she
how old my
would be
daughter was when we finally bought one.
she would be so upset. All her friends, maybe it was 16. Maybe it was about 16 when I finally relented and let her get a two piece. But like coming up, I was like, oh no,
I think
and
my
like
daughter's first two piece was like the tankini, where it's like it
right.
was really like a tank top, but it like basically was still a whole piece.
And then the short shorts. I was like, no, she was like, these are the only shorts they have in the store. And I was like, no, they gotta have some longer shorts. And I went to the store, they didn't. We
Yeah,
didn't
they don't.
find the shorts for her. I was like, what happened to the Bermuda shorts that we
They
used
don't.
to have? And she was like, they don't have any. And it was so hard to find, respectable shorts for the summer. And the cutoff shirts, I mean, I know they're back in, but like when she was younger, they were out, and I was like, no,
Right.
you're not doing the cutoff shirt. I mean, she wear what she want to wear now, but back then, certain things I just It's like you said, especially when they're a certain impressionable age, you don't want, especially like older men approaching them,
Right.
you know, that was my thing. So I'm like, stay covered up as much as you can, as long as I could get you covered, keep you covered.
Yeah.
She's 21 now. I'm just like, I mean, and she dresses, you know, pretty modest, but she liked the little midriff things, and
Mhm.
but
So,
I think I did my job.
so let me ask you a question since we've gotten on dress code. I mean, I know everybody got Instagram these days. You scroll through Instagram. Now somehow these people don't even got to be your friends. Somehow you find, it's always something like during, the scrolling of the Instagram and such. So like, do you guys feel like um that, I don't know, I guess society pushes some of that stuff as the norm, like that's what the norm should be, where you could, I mean, I looked at something, I don't know, I think there was like an awards show or something the other day, and so they were doing like showing red carpet something, and I saw this girl, I don't know who she was, she's some kind of something, singer, rapper, somebody, and she looked like she was just wrapped in, the mosquito nets that you can put, like, you could buy the net, and then she had just wrapped herself in that. That was it. There was no under nothing. Like, and so now me, I need to see the comments because I know I can't be the only person, especially when there's like 15,000 comments. I can't be the only person outraged. Like by this, or that my eyeballs are offended, because I've seen it. And there were a lot of, comments that were saying, okay, that's way too much. Like, you just naked or whatever. But there were a lot of people like, oh, she killing it. She knocking the game out the park or whatever the dumb stuff people say these days. And I was just like, I don't know, like stuff like that just bothers me so. Like, I don't know why it bothers me so much. Like I feel like as a woman, it makes me feel some kind of way. Like, is this the standard? Like, what are we saying about ourselves? It bothers me. I when I scroll through and I see stuff like that, I'm like got my daughter, come here, girl. Come, let me show. And I'm like, you see this? You see how people have no respect for their body, none of their private, nothing's private. I'm like, you don't, I never, ever, 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 ever is this acceptable. Like, I find myself making sure I tell her, like my daughter, she don't have a private phone and all that. You're only 11. Only person you need to talk to is me. So she don't got, all that stuff. But I make sure like I'm constantly scrolling and showing her this is not the pinnacle. This is not what you want to reach. This is not,
Right.
what you should aspire to. Like it's to look like you wrapped in netting. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a lot. I feel like our girls is so, especially now, like now girls, young women that are coming up, between the stereotypes and the different things that they're pushing and social media in society, the different standards they're pushing. I feel like our young ladies, our girls have so much to combat. Like,
Mhm.
before it was maybe a question of, I don't know, didn't it used to be like light skin versus dark skin or something?
Yeah.
Now it's, your hair and your this. And I feel like it's so much for our girls to combat once they, go outside the door. How do you guys feel like you've prepared your daughters for that? Or do you feel like you've prepared them for some of what's going on?
I feel like with our daughter, we kind of taught her that she's not in competition with anybody. She's not competing against anybody. She's not trying to, to dress to impress or please anybody else. She's not trying to do or fix anything with, she's enough within herself. She's not trying to fix or, present herself to the world of socials, trying to be impressive to anybody else. I think that's one of the biggest things in where it comes in teaching that self-confidence that all kids need, but definitely girls, because girls do spend a lot of time questioning whether or not they're enough. Right. From, is my hair, the way my hair should be? Do I look the way, this star or rapper or girl or singer or whatever? Do I look like her? Is my body shaped enough? They worry so much about so many different things. I think it's super important to teach them to have confidence in who they are. You're made just the way you were supposed to be. Everything about you is just the way it's supposed to be. Love yourself, love the way you are, and you don't have to present all of you to the entire world. There are some parts of you that are not meant for everybody. There are some parts of you that are not meant for the world to see, and that's your body, that's your mind. There's so many different things about you that don't belong to everybody. And it's okay not to present all of that to everyone. But also having that confidence to where when you want to do something to beautify yourself, you feel okay doing that too. And you can do it the way you want to do it and not the way other people want you to do it.
That's good. Trini, were you about to say something?
I think it's like Shinda was saying. Did anybody else hear this?
I heard it on me too.
All right. It's important that we focus on, like you were saying, about confidence. And I think that's, I don't know. Sometimes in scrolling on the internet, I see a narrative that's pushing confidence, self-confidence, confidence in your body, regardless of your size, or you know what I mean. So when I see that narrative, I'm definitely on board with that as far as having self-confidence, no matter, and embracing who you are, what you are, the body that you're in. I think one thing that I've noticed about my daughter, especially lately, is that it's like I see a lot of confidence, like no matter what. Like I'll see her Monday sweats, do rag, Tuesday cute outfit, Wednesday leggings and a hoodie. You know what I mean? And no matter what, she's just, this is me, this is what I'm doing. And she'll be dressed up, dressed down, Crocs and sweats, but she's still confident. And I love that. I love that. Like no matter what, like she's not pressed to have lashes on. She's not pressed to have her face beat or any of that other stuff. It's like if I'm going out with my girls for this particular thing, you might see some makeup, but on a regular day, whatever.
Why not?
And I feel like she's very just comfortable in her own skin, and I'm very happy that at this age, she's not concerned about, trying to have the Instagram model body and all that other stuff.
So. Okay, so I saw this post and I think I sent it. I don't know if you guys saw it. About, I'm gonna leave off some of it, but it was just talking about the adultification of Black girls and how, I guess it could allow for them to be misused by, I'll say the opposite sex, but I mean, at this rate, it could be but it just allow them to be misused, period. Do you think, that that's a factor that, we allow our daughters, not we as in us, but, like young girls are allowed to grow up too fast, or, or they're dressed, because I've seen, when I go to the middle school, I've been to the middle school and I see some of them little girls in there, and I'm just like, ooh, where your mama at? Like, like I've seen, like they dress like really grown. When you go to the mall, I've seen young girls, um, like, I don't know. I feel like if 16 and under, how long do your nails really need to be? Like, do you really need lashes during the week? You know what I mean? Like, I can understand a special occasion or something. So, do you feel like parents are allowing their kids to um age more than they should, way too fast?
I think that in some cases, yes. So I teach middle school,
Right.
and I see a lot with girls. Like I've seen some kids that like that lashes every day, nails, done middle school, and it's just kind of like, whoa, that is a lot. Like you have a whole lot happening and a whole lot going on. And for me, I definitely like if it's something that's like a violation or something that just is a little bit too far. Like I have a a young lady that is in one of my classes. She wears a lot of cut off shirts, and one day her shirt was not only cut off, but it was too thin, and I had a feeling that nobody else was going to say anything to her. So I pulled her to the side. She wasn't in my class at that moment. I just seen her walking down the hall, and I'm like, come in my room. We need to talk. One, I'm going to find you a shirt somewhere in this building because that is not okay. And I feel like maybe her mom missed the conversation. Maybe her mom didn't see her that morning. Maybe she changed clothes after her mom seen her. I'm not sure what the case was, but whatever it was, she was going to hear me today. So now she knows when she's walking down the hall, either A, you're going to avoid me, or B, you're going to make sure you start tugging and pulling on that shirt to make sure that it's the right length before you walk past me. So her and several other girls know, because she told all her little friends too, that if you walking past Miss McNair's room and your shirt is not right, oh, she's going to pull you in that room. She might not even know your name, but you coming in there to change shirts. You going to find a new shirt today in this building. And I took her to the office and I'm like, listen, I just need a shirt. Like she doesn't have to call home or go home. But if we have a box of shirts back here, old t-shirts that were in the lost and found, we need one today. And they know, like she was like, I don't want to wear these ugly shirts. I don't care. Should have wore the right shirt to school today, but this is what you get. So here's a nice little, crumpled up t-shirt. Somebody left in the box here. Wear it today. And I think it really comes down to like I said last week, it takes a village. It's not just one person. Like a lot of times parents allow stuff and sometimes they don't know any better. Sometimes they grew up too fast and were doing too much too fast. Heck, sometimes these parents are only a few years older than these kids. So that being said, they're still kind of living their party life and they're just like, do you? I'm doing me. See you later. Some of them are too busy. They're working. They're tired. They're not, they're just not able to see about them. But for me, with my daughter, shopping with her all the time was a big priority. Making sure that she picked the right things, making sure that she knew why something wasn't appropriate. So now with her shopping by herself, she might, pick something a little daring, here and there. But for the most part, she's going to pick things because this is a cycle that she's been on for years. She knows how to shop for herself. Mm-hmm. She knows she can take a shirt and put it up to her body without even having to try it on and say, oh, this is too small for me. Mm-hmm. Because we kind of went through that cycle together, and it's all in the work of raising your kids. You teach them along the way. You don't just, go and say, okay, here, wear this, wear that, but you teach them how to shop for themselves and how to, pick things that are appropriate and not be too grown. My daughter couldn't wear nail polish until she was 12 or 13.
Right.
And she would sneak and try to do it and she would get in trouble for it. She definitely couldn't wear makeup until she was much older. Lip gloss couldn't have colors in it. We had all kinds of strict rules, but there were reasons for everything because we didn't want you walking around looking like a miniature grown-up. You're a kid. You're 11. You're 12. Like, let's look like a 12-year-old. Let's act like a 12-year-old. Let's not try to rush it. You'll have the rest of your life to be a grown-up. Let's be a kid as long as we can because you don't want these grown-up problems. So let's go out here and let's be a kid for as long as we can. And that was a big deal for me and for my husband, for us just raising her.
Right. Angie said, have you ever said something to a mother or daughter about this? I
Like
guess.
someone else about like the way
Yeah,
with their daughter.
I guess.
Um, if it's one of my students, yes. If it's somebody that I just randomly see in the streets and I don't know, probably I can't think of a time where I've ever, like, but if it's somebody I know, somebody I'm close to, yeah. We had our neighbors had a couple of daughters and they couldn't wear pants. So my daughter would sneak pants out the house for them, and I never said anything to the parents about that. So they would leave home in skirts and they would come down to our house and get pants out of our flower pot that was in front of our house. I didn't know for a long time, but when I found out, I never told them. And they would change into the pants and go to school, and then they would come back home and get their skirt out of our planter and change back into their skirt and then go home every day. They did this for a very long time. My daughter, one day she finally broke down and told me when I asked her why she had clothes in the planter outside. And I never said anything to them about that, but I didn't feel like that was a growing up too fast type of thing. I felt like it was more of a okay, whatever type of thing. It was a religious reason why they wore skirts all the time. So it was like they were trying hard and they were like really trying to figure it out, and they had PE and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I made excuses for them. Yes, you can tell, right? Okay, let me stop.
So Trina,
I think on the well, two things. On the makeup thing, I think that we kind of got into makeup a lot earlier, just because she had to wear makeup on stage.
right?
And I had no idea. I had to go to a tutorial for the parents about how to do the kids' makeup. And I was like, wait, what? We got to do all this? Why am I doing this layer and this and all? I had no idea that all this went into doing a face and lashes and all this stuff. So I learned, because I grew up Kojic, so I know nothing about no makeup. So we're doing full faces at like 9-10 years old, but it was only for stage. But it was something that, like, now she learned how to do makeup. But it's not something that she was like, oh, now I'm gonna be, wearing makeup all the time. So thank God for that. She wasn't into it like that. But when she does do her makeup, she does a good job because now she knows how to do it. But the other thing was, I was saw something on the internet that made me think a little bit, and it showed a little black girl dressed, cute, and it also showed like another little white girl dressed cute, and it said that the black girl looked grown and the white girl was a fashionista, as far as like how it's viewed in different communities. And it made me think, like, are we pushing that narrative on our little girls, like, oh, you too grown? And then but other communities are like, oh, she's a fashionista, she likes to dress cute all the time and she keeps up with the fashions and all that. So I it made me think, and I don't know what I don't really, I haven't come to a conclusion about it, but it did make me think how our views are being put off on little girls. Are we putting that you're too grown on them? And are they just expressing themselves as far as how they dress? So I don't know.
Well,
And
I'll
I
say
don't mean
this.
I don't mean showing themselves. I mean like wearing something fashionable that may to us look grown, but to other communities might be, oh, it's they're trying to be fashionable. They're keeping up with the nails and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just
Well,
throwing it out there.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, we see across the board, basically, there are several things in different communities that they find acceptable that aren't really acceptable in our community for whatever the reason. I feel like when it comes to children, I mean, your child is only going to wear what you put them in. So you mean like as far as like somebody else on the outside thinking that they're dressed too grown? Is that what you mean? Like me looking at somebody else's daughter. Is that what you mean? Like that?
I mean, if it's one outfit
Mm-hmm.
and two different little girls have the same outfit on, are
Oh.
we judging the outfit saying our kid is too grown with it, and the someone else is saying, oh, it's not too grown, it's just fashion?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, are we putting that, oh, she's too grown? You know what I mean? Like, are we putting that on, making them be, viewing them as a little adults when they're just being their kids, but they have on a cute outfit to them? You know what I mean?
I
I
think
Like,
mean,
traditionally, we we have stricter standards sometimes when it comes to our kids than what maybe some other cultures may have when it comes down to like fashion and dressing, and the way a little girl should look. Like for instance, our girls will wear their hair in ponytails when they're small, but other cultures, their kids don't really wear ponytails, and like, and their hair may not be necessarily textured to do it all the time either, but they don't wear ponytails the way that we do. They don't wear barrettes in their hair and bows in their hair the way that we do. Sure enough, not beads. Like, I think we're probably the only people that's, that wear beads in our hair, and you can hear the kids coming. But other cultures don't really do some of the things that we do, and we have I think culturally some things that we do that make our little girls look like little girls that other cultures don't do. We go and buy the dress shoes for our little girls and the bobby socks, and the dresses with ruffles and that kind of stuff. And a lot of other cultures, you won't see them doing that for their girls. They'll go buy like a little sundress. It looks just like mom's dress, and mom and daughter have on the same dress and some sandals. And we literally have our daughters dressed to the nines with these ruffly socks and dresses with ruffles on the bottom, two big old bows in their hair with beads on the end of the ponytails too. Like, I mean, we're kind of extra when it comes to some stuff. I think so culturally, we're programmed to feel like that's a lot, that's too much. And even if for me, even if I seen, I would probably be like, well, that's too much for both of them. For me, that's probably how I would look at it. And
right.
I'd be like, come here, let me show y'all what to do. Y'all need to put some ruffles and some little bobby socks on this baby, and keep her moving. And they're probably looking at me like, girl, what?
Well, I mean, like I listen, my thing is, I guess in some ways it could be the adults putting on whatever, but more times than not, like when I've seen little girls like in real time, like not on the internet, and you see them and they're dressed in something, that's like super short, or it's like little mid dress, and then they walking like this. You know what I mean? Like, it seems more times than not that they've adapted a growner attitude to go along with the little outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, that's generally when I'm like, ugh. Like I have a little niece. She not even 5 yet, and she's the skinniest little thing. She's so cute. And my sister, she dresses so cute, but like, it's the little shorts because she's so little, and and it's fine because she's still walk around like a 4-year old. But if the next time I see her, she like, auntie, then me and my sister have to have a different conversation,
Right.
because it's not so much about the clothes. I think it's for me anyway, it's when I see the attitude that comes with it. Like, I was somewhere with my daughter, we were walking, and I don't know, maybe I've never really paid attention to the way she walked, but I felt like she was putting a little extra on her walk. Like, it was a lot going on. And I was like, hey, what is all of that? Because it seemed like it was, and I said, let's remember we're 11. Let's be 11. I don't know if sometimes when you're young, you see people do stuff and you like, and I made her conscious of the fact, like, you 11. Let's, when people see you, I want them to see you 11. Like, I know. So I think it's for me like the attitude that seems to come along with it. A lot of times that I've seen with the younger girls that dress too old, like I'm sure that the middle schoolers, the ones with the lashes and whatever, when they sitting in class or sitting in the lunchroom, if you probably walk up and listen to the conversation, you probably think it's two people mama talking. They're like, girl, I was on Facebook and and it's like that's too much. To go along with the lashes that's just a flipping and the
Mhm.
super long nails. I mean, in middle school though, like that's a lot. I don't care. Like to me, it don't matter what culture you are. Like it's a lot. And I think oftentimes that attitude comes along with it. The attitude and the mouth.
Yeah.
Like your mouth has outlived your life. Your mouth is 20 and your body's 14. I mean, like, and you're biologically 14. So like for me, that's more of the issue. Like even and I say all the time, I think, I'm really, really, really old fashioned with a lot of stuff. And I'm okay with that. But like even when I see some of the TikToks, like and everybody says, "Oh, it's so cute." Her daughter doing the same dance. My daughter's 11. If I decide to twerk on for whatever reason that I bump my head and I might decide to do a video, my daughter, who's 11, is not doing the video with me. I
Right.
don't care, like, because in my mind, I don't care how cute I think it is. If I got my hind parts to a camera and I'm doing this, what is somebody looking at? Oh,
Mhm.
you think they really thinking about, oh, that's such a nice song? No, now they looking at your tail and your babies doing all this. Like, so when I see stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, she growing up too fast. Like,
Doing too much.
that's too much for a kid. I think in any culture, like it's I don't know. I think sometimes we we kind of rob our daughters, not just our daughters, our kids in general, of of some of their innocence.
Hmm.
Trying to keep up with all the fads. But like I said, I do know that I'm super old fashioned
I probably am too.
when it comes to a lot of things. Like I just,
Yeah.
like I don't see it. Like, the costumes and the dancing, like I think that's great. Lexi, she did ballet for a while, and so she had a thing and they had a little costume. And they didn't even ask me to make up her face. So I had her some stuff for her face. Like I took pride and I wanted her to be so cute up there on the stage. So I think, some things like you said are event appropriate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it goes in line with the goal at the moment. But I don't know. I feel like it's almost like we fatten our kids up and send them out to slaughter.
Yeah.
Like you making them bait, especially our young girls. We sending them out into a world full of wolves. I mean, between the social media and what's pushed as acceptable. Like I don't know. As a mother, my concern is I want her to be ready. And when I say ready, I mean ready in terms of I'm gonna live in my own lane. Like, I can't be trying to be this. I don't want to try to be that. I'm 100% comfortable being Alexis. Like, that's what I try to get her to understand. Be yourself. She go to school with all these different kinds of kids, and one of the little girls said something to her hair like, "Oh, your hair is so big." And she came home like, "Mommy, why is my hair so big?" I said, "Did you ask her why is her hair so little or so thin?" And she was like, "Mommy," and I said, "No." I said, "What makes yours bad and hers good?" And she was like, I said, "Yeah, let next time when you go to school tomorrow, you ask her what makes yours good. Like if my hair is big and that's bad, why is thin hair good? Like, what makes yours good? I said, I said, her hair is good for her because she's little Susie or whoever she is. But
Mm.
you're Alexis. I said, your hair is big like your personality. Listen, I always try to tie it in there. But you don't let people make you feel bad about, parts of who you are. This is
Right.
who you are. You was born with this hair, girl. Gave me heartburn for months. This is all yours. Like I try so hard. I don't want her, I don't know, to be trying to catch up to herself. Where I'm trying to find myself. I don't want her to find herself. I want her when she go out to have herself with her. I want her to know where she left herself at all times. I don't know. Um, but it's great to parent a daughter. Well, I'm sure it has its moments, but it is great to see, like for my daughter, unfortunately, she's 100% like her mother. Like, I mean, I really like totally see myself in her. Um, I see myself for what I was at that age as opposed to who I am now. And I often think about some of the things that caused me to be a little different now than I was as a kid. And I try to make sure that I shield her from those things.
Yeah.
Like I was very affectionate, very friendly, younger. And over time, you get disappointed, you get let down, people hurt your feelings. So then you become guarded and, give me 6 feet or 10 feet. And so I try to protect her from those types of things and not from outside sources because we know as parents, you could only do so much when it comes to outside, and how people out there view her. But like within the confines of our house, her safe space, I try to make sure that our home is the safest place she know. So if you need to be hugged 300 times in a day, which is what it feels like sometimes, I hug her 300 times, in the day. If you need to cry, if you need mommy, if you need a shoulder, so I'm very adamant about those things with her because I don't want her to miss any of those vital moments that might shape how she views herself later. Do you feel like as a mom, did like you have a greater responsibility? Because they hear everything you say. I don't know about listen, they hear everything, but then they watch everything you do too.
Yeah.
So do you feel that responsibility is kind of heavy?
I would say, I mean, parenting in general, like, I mean, you know that they're watching and you have to really keep that at the forefront of, what you do and what you say to make sure that you're modeling what you want them to walk away with.
Trina?
I agree. I mean, definitely, um, it shapes how you move. It shapes how you move because sometimes you're like, no, 'cause I can't, because my kids, if only, because I might, but
Mm.
you got to take that different tone because
Right.
kids is in the back seat, so you got to.
And you're justified because you're grown and you could technically do it and
Right,
say
right,
it
right,
and
right.
move forward. But because of those kids, you're kind of like, okay,
Right.
let me.
Those kids.
Let me.
Because that's what they turned into. Those kids.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies, for the conversation. Like I said, I'm way down on the totem pole. So, I'm definitely listening and taking notes and watching because, I feel like these teenage years, I'm like you, Shanetta, I might have to, put them up just a few times because she a little tough one sometimes. So, I'm looking forward and dreading the teenage years all at the same time.
You
Because
have
I'll
to.
probably be a lot like you too, worrying. Oh God, did I do this right? Lord, don't let me mess my baby up. Like, you have all those thoughts. And so, sometimes you just have them in your head and you
Mhm.
feel like if I say that to somebody else, they're going to think, well, she don't need no kid because she don't know what she's doing. Because, everybody pretends like they got all the answers. But we see your
Have 'em
kids too.
all.
We've
Yeah.
seen your kids. So nobody has
Nobody has
nobody has all the
answers.
answers. And
That's
as a
for sure.
parent, if you don't ever question what you're doing, you should be worried.
Right.
Because yeah, it gets interesting. It get interesting and it can get real quick.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies, for sharing. As always, we are on here every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Oh, what I did. Okay. So until next week, stay safe.